I read in one of Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God books that it is advisable for human beings to live more simpler lives, and this includes to live in areas that are quieter and that are less densely populated. But I've also heard from other people that living in cities or urban areas is better for stimulating our creativity. I'm just wondering if you have any advice on a spiritual level into what is the most ideal living situations for people in the world today.
Yes, we believe that whatever resonates as truth to you is the truth for you. You see different people at different times in their life too, yes? Their energetic level responds to that of what they're around. And so, for example, when Michelle was younger and she had lots of energy and she was in her 20s and she loved being stimulated, the urban environment was fun for her. Living in a quiet environment would have been too stark for her. There was nothing to do. She would have been bored, and from that boredom would have created destruction, you see. And yet, as she gets older, she loves the peace that countryside provides. She moves to the mountains where she could be alone and write and allow us to come through her. And that was a valid time in her life. And then she traveled out to where she is now by the ocean, and it was somewhat in between. It wasn't all city, but it wasn't all country. And she knew, as did her husband, Joda, that they both felt a buzzing and an excitement because they knew it resonated with their very soul, that they were supposed to live there. What if you went through life just allowing yourself to resonate with the people and places and jobs and friends and lovers that lit you up? You see, places have their own energetic imprint. And so, yes, if you want to lead a more meditative life, like someone like Neil Donald Walsh, where he receives what he deems God, we call it source energy or the universe or spirit or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, just a name, another man-made name, a higher force beyond this limited, dense environment, then yes, a louder environment, you're not going to be able to hear that. But that doesn't mean it's bad. Just building on our last conversation, there is no such thing as right, wrong, good, or bad. Everybody has their own truth. When you start fighting against the truth of another, they're in their own level of evolution, yes? You wouldn't tell a toddler just learning to walk that they were wrong. No, they're at their own stage of development. You wouldn't tell a teenager that they're wrong in their feelings because we've all been there, including us, because we've lived your lifetime. Everyone has gone through that as a stage. And so all this fighting of each other, this is the right way to eat, this is the right way to dress, this is the right way to believe. What are beliefs except for thoughts that you think over and over again? And many of them have been said to you. What we would like to ask of you, what feels right for you, you see? When you travel to a place, does that feel good? Or perhaps you just are meant to travel there, not to live there on an everyday basis. Sometimes people mistake that. Or they live in the same place their entire life just because their parents chose to live there. But that wasn't their choice. It's a big, big world. And we suggest you wander so you realize that, yes, people may have different cultures and those are just different belief systems, yes? And yet, you are all the same. You all are born the same way. You all die the same way. You all re-enter a spiritual state the same way. You all need to eat. You all defecate. Some of you get sick. Some of them you get well. You all have bodies. You all learn and grow and change no matter where on this giant world you live in. So wander and stop telling yourself you can't afford to. When we hear you saying that, Power of 10, I don't have the money or the means. You do have the means. Focus on why you want to be there, picture it, and then allow all that needs to happen to deliver that to you. You see, when Michelle lived in the mountains, she knew that was good for a time, and then she changed and evolved, and she kept picturing water outside of her window, even though it didn't exist, and she didn't understand, because when she was in California, it didn't really resonate for her. And then her TV show happened to film out here in Clearwater, and she knew instantly, and she's looking at the water right now. We're looking through her at the beautiful water, and that was what she visioned. She had no idea how that would happen. Stop focusing on the how. You see, that's manifestation 101. Stop focusing on how it will be delivered. Focus on the feelings that will come, and feel those feelings now. You have it all backwards. Feel what it feels like. How do you want to feel? If you want to feel stimulated, then yes, the city environment might be the best for you. If you want to feel quiet and meditative, then go to the countryside. Now, where we would also like to agree with Neale Donald Walsch is that you can simplify your life, whether you live in the city or the country, wherever you are, because the less you depend on others, the more you can have your own independent state, and you can focus on your own health and well-being. You see, for instance, if you are constantly relying on others for food, and then you get sick because of the chemicals that they put in the food, then eat organic. And if there's no place for you to eat organic, then grow your own food. You can do that. You have soil somewhere near you. You can do it if you live in an apartment. You can get a little planter and plant. Michelle made zucchini and grew all kinds of zucchini and lived on zucchini when she didn't have a lot of financial help. You see? Because really, you make life really complicated, and we're here to tell you, all you really need is to cover your body from the elements. Yes? You need to feed your body. You have a body on this plane. And so you can grow your own food. You can even sew your own clothing. You can recycle your clothing. You can go to a thrift store and get clothing that others have discarded. You don't need tons of it. You start deciding that you need all these things because you're told you need it, and you're trying to fill the void that doesn't exist. Fill that void with the unconditional love that exists throughout the entire universe, that you will return to when you leave this plane of existence. So once you have the basics, you see, then you don't rely on anyone else. And the same is true of your country. Stop relying on other countries for oil or for electricity. You have solar. You have a sun. You all share the sun. And so utilize the power of solar energy, and then you decrease your dependence on anyone else, so you have nothing to complain about. Do that, and you set an example for others. And the best way to influence others is by succeeding in your own life. Yes, simplify. And then if you want to add to that, that's not bad either. You see, if you want to add to that, then add something of beauty to your world. Perhaps you see a shirt and it's a great color and it makes you feel confident, and you have the means to get it. By all means, manifest it. Even if you don't, picture yourself in that shirt and imagine how you would feel, and perhaps you might find someone gives you that same shirt, because those kinds of things happen all the time in this vibratory universe. It's not a bad thing, but slowly add what it is that you want, and the experiences also, because it's not the stuff that you want beyond just the food and the clothing you see and the roof over your head. What kinds of experiences make you excited? Many of them don't even involve finances. You see, Michelle loves walking on the beach. That's free. That's free. Walking in your neighborhood is free. Admiring your surroundings. Meeting with a good friend is free. If you don't have any friends, go to the grocery store and smile at the checker. You see, you're all connected. All of that makes a difference. All of that makes a difference. So yes, simplify, and then add as you deem fit, and only those things that light you up. And get rid of the things that clutter the mind. You see, so often, many of you have so much you can't even think straight. Michelle just cleaned out her closet this morning, and it felt really good to organize all her shoes. Half of them she doesn't wear anymore. She's giving them away to someone else who will love getting those shoes that are practically brand new. And she's picturing whoever's wearing them with joy. Recycle. There's many of those things that other people can use, and don't be afraid to take other people's cast offs, and then someday you'll be in a position to give to others. How good does that feel? How good does that feel?